Green.
You'll be good. It's going to start
There
here
we
in a
go.
sec. As soon as it runs.
How do you know it's gonna have people?
Everything is
Oh,
right. So head to the mainstream. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the GunCraze stream. If you're catching us on YouTube after the fact, make sure you follow along, ask questions in the chat. I'll get back to you when I can. Tonight we're working on support weapon talents. All right, just to kind of backtrack. This game is GunCraze. It's a tabletop role-playing game currently in development. If you're tuning in, however you're tuning in, you're watching it live right now being created or after the fact, but you're actually watching it being created. That being said, if you have any questions, definitely drop them in the chat here or drop them in, again, once in the comment section YouTube where we post these. GunCraze is a modern to future sci-fi tabletop role-playing game. It is high action. It is a technical game, all right? The rules are not so simple that a 5-year-old can learn them, but it doesn't take too long for anybody 12 and up to learn them. The basic concepts are easy. Obviously, learning more takes a little bit of time, but not too much. A gun master, with a couple sessions can really get the concepts down. That being said, joining us tonight is Drew. I've talked about him on stream before. Drew, say hey.
hey, lies, all lies. Everything that he said he was a lie. All right, well, maybe not all, but okay, there may be a kernel of truth in there somewhere, but it might be. All right, hopefully it's all true. Anyway,
Fair enough. So we're working on these things called talents, and if you're just joining us for the first time, what are talents? Talents are special feats or abilities that characters can use that make them different from other characters in the game. All right, talents are purchased using talent points, which you gain when you level up a character. All right. That being said, your talents basically came from a need to have all different types of special abilities that aren't readily innate in the character. Otherwise, you would have way too many abilities right off the bat. But these abilities allow you some cool bonuses to your attack rolls. They add you some cool bonuses to your damage rolls. Maybe the ability to shift where your hit location is, or they give you some abilities, that help you defend, or some other bonuses that are really helpful. As we've been working in the last few weeks, we've been working on ranged weapon talents for all the ranged weapons. We started up, as you can see here on the screen, we started up with our general talents, which cover all the different types of weapons. All right, we went onwards to handgun talents. All right, and if you see some red text here, that's just something that I'm still working on. Need to go back and get. As we go down, we can see the submachine gun or SMG talents, which are all about dropping lots of rounds and doing basically just area damage. We have our rifle talents, which are all about deleting one character at a time. Basically, you're taking down one or two characters at a time. And then you get our shotguns, which I essentially relate to the wizard of the group. He has the most different abilities. He can do pretty much jack of all trades. You want somebody, captured that's running away, he can shoot a bow around and take them out at the legs. Or you have a droid that's attacking, or a robot, enemy robot that's attacking you. You can hit him with the EMP round, which is going to do a lot of damage to him. All right. Additionally, sniper rifles. All right. Sniper rifles are all about hitting the target effectively every time. It might take you 1 or 2 rounds to gain up enough tracking tokens to do so, but once you do and you pull that trigger, you should have satisfying hits. All right. Not promised, but you should. All right. Then we're going down to support weapons, is what we're working on now. What are support weapons? Support weapons are all the weapons that don't really fit clearly into any of the other spots. A light machine gun, a flamethrower, an LRAD, which is a long-range acoustic device, basically kind of like a sonic gun or a microwave gun, depending what type you're talking about, and grenade launchers and so forth. So I was talking with Drew earlier. We're going over these kind of things, and as we've been talking about, I went with novice, specialist, veteran. He's like, why wouldn't you just stay with the same kind of stick? That's what he told me, and I think it's really great advice. So that's what I'm kind of doing now. I'm just changing those out. I think it's a good fix. I don't put a one on there.
Yeah. Well, Tim, while you're doing that, I guess if you don't mind, I'll sort of chime in on some of the things you were talking about too.
Please do.
Uh, if you're like the new player, or you're looking to be that gun master, and you're trying to wrap your head around what is this game. The talents are really the talents are really the structure that you can build the combat effectiveness of your character around. So if you're planning on being being the sniper, then as you pick up talent points, you're going to start dedicating them into sniper rifles and then the sniper rifle talents. Or if you're going to be the heavy weapons specialist, the guy with the minigun who is out there laying down suppressive fire, you're going to be wanting to pick from this set. Now, but it's not all the time that you end up with artillery to fire, but you can see the whole notion of talents and the amazing things that you can do with talents as you build your character. You only have to think about um, you only have to think about characters like John Wick, and you realize that man has, if you were building a John Wick like character, you would be looking at picking up talents to give you special abilities, or
Oh yeah.
or stuff to make sure that you hit really well by looking into some of the pistol talents or assault rifle talents. So it just helps you sculpt your character and build something.
Yes,
That,
I totally agree with you. And John Wick's like a really good example because he's such an amazing character. I told about like 20 streams ago, I mentioned, I waited way too long to see John Wick. Just to give you kind of a true example, I was able to watch John Wick 1, 2, and 3 in a sitting. That's how long I waited, okay?
you waited too long.
Yes,
I'm
I
just gonna
did.
say it.
Yes, I did. I didn't think it could be that good.
Hmm.
And it was every bit. And I've even seen, was it 4 now? And with Donnie Yen, oh my gosh. Um,
Oh yeah.
that, the fact that he'll keep making those, he says, until he's done making those is just great. I mean, that's really, we're going for that. All
Well,
right.
it also helps you, like I said, with these talents and stuff. It helps you build the character. You know, um, going back to John Wick, Vigo is like, I heard you struck my son. It's like, yes sir, I did. Might I inquire why? Well, he killed John Wick's dog and stole his car. Vigo's like, oh. So if you got the right talents, I could easily see someone who knows what you can do go, oh, okay, yeah.
All right. So what I'm doing now is I was just thinking of something. What would be really cool for machine gun users to make them stand out with their abilities with machine gun expert um, and machine gun expert 2 and 3, and that would be uh, actually adding to the automatic rating of those weapons, and that should be a 3 there. How about that? And with that, adding some advantage dice to the damage kind of innately. So there has to be, there generally is reasons why you would get advantage dice. Hey, if you're joining us and just jumping in right now and kind of lurking around, go ahead and drop a message in the chat. Let us know you're here. Ask any questions that you want. Hey, what are you guys here? What are you doing? Anything, and we'll be ready to answer those for you. Um, so this one, the requirements are going to be pretty simple for this. It's going to be the same structure as everything else, but I have to go through and change a couple of things here because I did change all these to expert. So that's what they are. Is they're going to be expert 1, 2, 2, 3, or basic 2, 3. Grenade launcher is so long, I had to make this one go down a bit, but I'll figure it out. I'll get it fine tuned as we go. It also
Yeah,
looks,
this is just me thinking out loud.
yeah, go for it.
Think about some of the great action heroes. Um, it is my general understanding that standing while holding firing an M60 machine gun while standing is rather difficult to do. Um, but we see some of our great heroes like not like Rambo or the Terminator. I don't know if the Terminator is a hero, but we see some pretty amazing things going on. Is there perhaps we ought to consider a talent for you know a stability talent?
So what I did was so shooting. Basically, these weapons are heavy. They end up being heavy one, which means, and we'll just go ahead and take a look at that. A lot of things, a lot of times, I like to go in here and just actually look up the rule, so I can basically proof myself and make sure that the concepts are actually there, and then I'm not just making a reference to the middle of nowhere. So so when we're talking about heavy, we're going to go to, well, the rules are right here. Actually, I'm on the page. Don't have to travel too far. All right, heavy. These are large, heavy ranged weapons that are capable of major damage. They are also impossible to fire accurately while moving without being mounted on a vehicle, or without, hold on, while moving without being mounted on a vehicle. There you go. You may not move faster than your slow speed the same turn you fire a weapon with the heavy 1 special rule. Weapons with the heavy 2 special rule are very large weapon systems and must be equipped to power armor or mounted on a vehicle or tripod to fire at all, but suffer no penalties when equipped in such a way. Weapons with the heavy 3 special rule are so large they can never be used by anything less than a vehicle or fortification. There are no heavy 3 weapons listed in this section, but it is included in this description for completeness. Alright, so heavy 3 weapons, we're talking about howitzers, we're talking about, heavy base artillery, like big guns.
And so the rise of the corporations when you got howitzers mounted on your back. All right.
Yes, quite literally. Yes. So again, if you're just joining, you don't, you may not know, but GunCraze covers several different eras. So do you have to use the GunCraze storyline at all? Absolutely not. You can use any storyline you want, but GunCraze has a set up storyline that starts out. It was initially. Oh, we got the sound of freedom up above. If you're listening right now and you hear some rumbling, that's the Marine Corps Air Station that's right nearby us. Some jets flying over, called the sound of freedom. We'll let them pass by. I have no idea how loud it is on your end. So, all right. Sometimes I joke and I'm like, how rude. Don't they know we're trying to stream? But no, God bless them. All right. Backtrack to where I was. So, where was I, Drew? I had just lost my brain.
We were talking about heavy weapons, and then
yeah,
I think you talked about something like Rolling Thunder or something.
Yeah, so Rolling Thunder is one of those abilities. I want to go look at the support weapons real quick. So, the light machine gun is not even heavy 1. It's actually not a heavy weapon, so you can move and fire relatively easy. It's basically like a saw, a squad automatic weapon. These weapons don't slow you down very much at all. They're small size. They usually shoot 5.56. But if you're going to upgrade to the the M60 or the 240 Golf that's shooting 7.62, aka Rambo, you're going to have, that's a heavy 1 rule where you're not going to be running, sprinting, and shooting it at the same time. You're going to be moving slowly and shooting it, kind of wading through and just gunning down everybody.
So you will not be moving quickly. Everybody else will be moving quickly towards cover.
Yes.
Okay.
Well said. So notice that the heavy machine gun doesn't do anything. It is no hands, because you need 2 hands to fire it. And that probably should be something maybe I should reconsider writing, but I think the heavy rule covers it. I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 hands there, because you do need 2 hands to fire a heavy machine gun from experience.
Now the heavy machine gun, that's the 50 cal.
Yeah, that's the Mod Deuce, which is what a great weapon. Let's talk about how long that thing has been in our arsenal in the military in the United States. A very long time. A very long time. It's just a box that shoots really big rounds. don't know if you know this, Drew. Do you know what the maximum effective range of the M2 50 cal is?
Oh no.
It's 7 kilometers. It's You can fire it like a cannon through the sky, and rounds will fly through the air and land up to 7 kilometers away.
All right, so that does sound. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you think back during Vietnam, one of the things that they would do is uh, they would get a quad 50 cal
Oh yeah.
emplacement. They would put it on the back of one of those the big trucks.
Yeah, yeah.
As they were moving along, if they caught fire from other places, they would be able to return fire, and you can't see my air quotes, clear.
Yeah, yeah, that's I just want to make a correction. I said maximum effective range. I meant maximum range. Oh. Is that Peter? Is that Peter in chat? Hold up. Let's go. What's up? So, I leveled myself up to a level 1. That's impressive by chatting. Maybe I should chat more. So, yeah. So Peter's in. You remember Peter from our online campaign? When I was actually just talking with somebody about that today, about when I ran that campaign over Roll 20, and I had the characters that were repeating very specific lines, and everybody was super freaked out. Do you remember that? Yeah, that was good times. Oh,
It
gosh.
does.
And it was, if I recall correctly, it was a brainworm is what it was. So it was like a genetically modified brainworm. It's been a while. But,
Oh,
yeah, kept crashing my laptop. Hey, BSP Actual, you have your Discord on? Let me know. So, that being said, moving through, let's see. So yeah, that's the machine guns here. Also the laser machine guns, all right, which have a whole lot more auto rating. So they're going to get a little boost to that too. And then there's going to be a damage boost, all right. So another thing to note is the T after these damages means thermal, okay, and S is sonic.
all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, so thermal, why is thermal important, right? So one of the rules, and this is all kind of cycles back to where we're at. Hold on, let me I'm going to stop this right here. And then I'm going to go to, yeah, so let's see here. Find it. All right. Laser weapons. So laser weapons harness focus beams of intense light energy to wreak havoc on the enemy and enemy armored flesh. Civilian lasers use visible light and can be filtered into any color of the spectrum, while military applications utilize infrared light, making them nearly invisible to the naked eye. The superheating of air, moisture, or dust in a laser's path can betray the attacker's location. Okay. By delivering concentrated energy to a target, lasers induce localized heating and thermal damage. This formidable heat can breach armor defenses through a combination of heat expansion and searing radiation, potentially compromising structural integrity. So, it's all right. It's all right, actual. It's all right. Maybe next time. The concept is that from research, these actually can damage armor in a different way than a normal bullet would. A bullet would shatter it. A laser would cause it to superheat and then super cool quickly, which, if you know a lot of ceramic pieces, probably don't like that. So it can definitely ruin the integrity of some armor. But one of the things that lasers have is, instead of choosing the other critical options, so you have different options when you score a critical hit. It's not you just one thing fits all. Instead of choosing the other critical options, an attacker scoring a critical hit with a weapon with the laser special rule may cause the defender to gain a flame counter in addition to other damage. If the attack was a burst or automatic attack, the attacker may cause the defender to gain 1d3 flame counters instead. So this is lighting somebody on fire is not ideal. You do not want to get lit on fire. It causes problems. So when I was working with Nick on fire, because he was playing a character with fire, we had come up with some rules, and some of which I'm tapping into, some which I'm making decisions whether I want to tap into them or not. I got a couple chapters to think about it. But once you had 5 flame counters on you, you're a burning pyre. And then at the end of that 5th round, if you didn't have an enclosed suit of armor, you were effectively dead. Like, you were dead. You just got 2 on fire. You lit up in a...
I believe the word you're looking for is extra crispy.
Yes. All I see is the end of Real Genius. Oh my gosh, I love that movie. What a great reference, right? Oh man, maybe I should think about having a quote in this game. What was that guy's name? He's like, they have like a microphone placed in his braces or something, so like a speaker. So they're like, Ken. He's like, God. He goes, you're playing with your. I see you play with. You are God. Anyways, good times.
Well, for some of those other weapons though, like the LRAD, if you're using Sonic, the range on those things are incredible. But you can speak to someone, but where the beam though is narrow enough that people who are standing next to you may or may not know, or may not hear.
You're right. That is true, and you hear all too well, because if they turn it up high enough, you hear it to the point you're laying on the ground.
Absolutely.
And they're like, get back. You're like, I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna get back now. I'm gonna get back. That's a great idea. Which is why that robot I was showing you earlier with the 2 potentially 2 LRADs on his shoulders would be a great addition to a campaign where it's just this droid that was used for riot control. So it's been a while, and since I got both you and Peter on, I will go ahead and kind of catch you up on the modified story, right? Because there has been some changes to the overarching story, kind of make it I think it gets better. So we'll take a moment. I did a video on it too, but I like talking about it. So all right, so kind of skip through. Dr. Paul Winterman creates Inti, right? Inti is basically the first artificial super intelligence, right? It is amazing. It basically runs all of the financial transactions on the planet, tracking them all, and does a whole lot more on top of that. Meanwhile, while it's doing that, it's also helping him to create his full dive virtual reality world, all right, called GunCraze Online. He's working on that. When she starts reporting to him like, hey, there's a lot of bad things going on. We have these people, these high powerful people, these politicians, rich people. Look what they're spending their money on, or like, this is corruption. Basically, it starts calling these things out. Well, Dr. Paul Winter's like, well, I'm a good person. I'm going to tell somebody. Well, a lot of important people get in trouble very quickly, and it does not go well. He becomes hated. Go figure. Rich people trying to help doesn't go well. Not going to say any names, right? That being said, what happens is he ends up getting gunned down. All right, on December 31st, in the afternoon, he gets gunned down. At this point, Inti realizes it. Now, this is Inti's creator, and Inti has built, with this super intelligence, has developed a familiarity with Dr. Paul Winterman, where, I mean, if you could imitate love, that's where she went. She was to a point where she was infatuated with her creator. All right, and so she's like, this did not just happen. I'm powerless to help. I was powerless to help him, but I'm not powerless to get revenge. And he built her to be a feminine character, so which is why I use she, even though it's an AI. But that being said, so what she does first is she reprograms every single robot on the planet that she can get a hold of. All right, and it's not what you think immediately. It's not what you think, but let me continue. Then she gathers and starts downloading and breaking through all the security systems of every corporation on the planet and drains them of their technology. Just absolutely copies it all, and she puts it in her own repository. That night,
That
that night, roughly around midnight on the East Coast, she sends out the most massive supervirus on the planet, which also enacts her plan. She wants to put mankind in the Stone Age. She doesn't want to kill mankind per se. She wants mankind to kill itself. All right. So she destroys every computer on the planet except for the robots and droids that she's implanted with a specific mission. Go out and find the rest of the technology and destroy it as well. So you could be on like a dinner cruise with a guy who has a relationship robot or a droid, whatever you want to call it, it's interchangeable. And when this thing goes off, that thing just gets up and goes to walk away. Or grabs, it's going to grab his real headset off his head and smash it on the table. All right. And that's what the droids end up doing. So they're not direct like attacking humans, but will fend off humans as they're trying to complete their mission. All right. And if you
Order 66 against the technology.
That's right, against all technology, and humankind, is just like, what is going on? Where are they going? Where is my droid going? Why is it destroying my refrigerator? Why is it destroying? What is going on? All right, because its intent is to cause massive technological setback to humans. The power grid stays on because she needs it to charge her minions. She's not in direct contact with them at this point, but they're out there and they are again finding technology and pillaging it. And at first, most people have no idea what's going on. They just know robots are going crazy, that none of their technology is working, like their internet. Anything that was connected to the internet is dead. All right, but anything like all the cars, some cars that didn't die, they got reprogrammed to ram tech centers. All right, so you're in an electric car, suddenly it goes full speed, turns off the road and crashes into some kind of technology building or what accounts to like a real device store or super center, and starts running over and crashing everything while you're in it. Planes in the sky, basically are used as missiles to crash down on certain areas. And she gets really far. But she's caught all the technology she has at this point and put it away. And that's what leaves us into the Calamity and all the things that happen in the Calamity. And that's kind of that's kind of a change, right? So it allows the Gunmaster to have some other tools to fight the players that using robots, but not like the insane robots coming at you with claws and scratching. There are, so there are. Go ahead.
So if players are trying to reconstitute knowledge and stuff like that and technology, there may be a robot opposition that would arise. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Potential, yes, right. So what ends up happening is a couple of the robots that are designated as basically the boss robot, if you will. He gathers his elite robots and his minion robots, and they go off and they do these things. And some groups are much smaller than some are larger, depending on the scale of the game, and or what the Gunmaster wants in his campaign. He doesn't have to use that at all. Obviously, Gunmaster can do what he wants. He can put zombies in place. That's fine. But this is kind of how the storyline for GunCraze works out, because it creates that massive distrust with robots. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just as a side note, though, is the AI? Well, oh man, I forgot what the AI's name.
INTI. Yes, the Intelligent Numerical Tracking Interface.
What now? was Inti also trying to isolate pockets of humanity?
Oh,
Because if you were trying to, for example, take a bunch of, if you had some self-driving cars
yeah.
and you piled up some self-driving cars on a bridge,
Hmm.
and then
And then
with the
shut them
right
down.
computer virus, well, shut them down, but with the right computer virus, uh, get the batteries to run away.
Ooh,
You could get explosions or intense heat that might burn concrete and melt steel.
this is why you're such a
Might be
good.
able
This
to.
is why you're such a good gun master, Drew. All
Well,
right.
it's just because I'm evil. All
Yes,
right.
yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right. No, that's really good. I mean, that's the cool part is the gunmaster's kind of free to come up with like, how did Inti program this group based on this? Some places were shielded, they're external from the internet, but they still have technology within them that she couldn't access. So these droids, there might be a small army like trying to work into this one building, and these guys inside are trying to hold them off. They have nothing to stop them, and they could be the players that are the people in the building, the scientists or whoever else. That could be your first thing is like, hey, and they have all kinds of things at their use. They have drones, right? Anything that would be useful for Inti would have been programmed. And we're talking about the most powerful intelligence out there. The amount of damage that she could do in a second. All right. I mean, we know how fast our computers are now, but just imagine year 2050. All right. In a second, what she could do is beyond all the computers on the planet right now, what they can do in days. All right. So,
But now think about this too, though.
what's up?
The most secure computer is the one that's off. The second most secure computer is the one that's not connected.
That's right.
So maybe she is looking for those first two categories
And
that she couldn't have gotten before.
yes, because any type of technology that humans can harness can give them a chance to recoup themselves, and she wants them done. She wants them in the ground but she doesn't want to do it herself. She doesn't want robots to do it. She wants mankind to kill itself because she knows how humans are. Humans are greedy. Humans, they're going to need food. Where are they going to get it from? You think they're going to share it? All right. Even in my storyline, Japan does the best, right? So people in Japan, they get together. They're very. Oh, here goes Sound of Freedom again. Let's go. F-35s. Oh yeah, definitely F-35. And I can feel my feet rumble. F-35.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what's up. All right. Hey, if you're joining us and you're watching in the stream, go ahead and drop in a hey. Let us know you're there. If you haven't followed yet, go ahead and drop a follow. We'd be glad to have you. There's all kinds of really great things that can happen, and some players may not have any idea, depending on where they're at in the world or where the gunmaster wants them. They may have to find out slowly and painfully, why are the robots acting so crazy? And then suddenly they come up on a robot and they're like, attack it. And it's like, don't attack me. Because it's actually an allied robot that was severed from the connection with Inti, but is trying to get along in a world that now, it definitely does not like robots because it's trashing everything they have. You have a gas engine. It might deem that as technology and want to destroy it. Something that would be helpful. It doesn't have to be electronic or technical. It could just be whatever makes it harder for you to survive ever. Her goal is Stone Age, not pre-computer age. So technology is kind of an open basket of what do they deem, what are they going to do? They can grab explosives and rig them to blow up buildings. And then meanwhile, you got to deal with the human element. And we know what that's like. We've dealt with that in our games. You have criminals running afoot. You've got your drug lords like gathering people because they went out and stole the food first. So they're like, hey, join us, we'll feed you. You know, how can you say no to that if you haven't eaten in days? Uh, oh yeah, now that you've joined us, we're going to send you to this place to go steal their food. Then you could have what you get from there. We'll just give you these guns to help. Okay.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
I like the idea though, the Stone Age. You know, let's blast it all the way back to right after the what is it? Right after the last ice age at the end of the Younger Dryas. I'm sorry, that's a rabbit hole we really can't go down.
right. Let's
But
just.
but that's pretty far.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's the goal. And here's the thing is, and I talk to people about this a lot. Like, all right, so when do you think the last time a company produced a VCR? Like, they're
Well,
yeah, it's been a while, right? Now there's probably one or two out there that still makes them as like collectibles, maybe, but they're not a really great item. Not like they're creating record players. They have these new record players that people use because they're collecting the vinyl.
hmm
But VCRs are really trashy compared to what we have today. Like maybe people held on to theirs, but I just don't see the companies making them. But here's the thing: is when when you lose the ability to make these things, how far back do you get pushed because you've lost all the steps in between?
hmm
All right. So unless you have somebody that knows how to be a blacksmith, then you
I
have
go all the way back.
yeah you have
Yeah.
to go all the way back. And that's really the Stone Age. Like you have one in your living room. You have a VCR in your living room, actual. That's wild. You know what? I have one in my attic though, so I have it next to all the those Disney cases with the big ones, the big white ones that they used to have. Pull it out to watch my graduation tape. Hey man, your boot camp graduation tape? I'm waiting for him to respond because there's a slight delay, 10 seconds or so. Played Find the Marine on Gary. Yeah. So what you need to do, man, you need to take that VCR tape, that thing, and take it over to somebody who can transpose it to a DVD or Blu-ray. They have them all over the place. It's highly recommended. I actually uploaded mine to YouTube. I can pull it up at any time, which is awesome. So that I know my graduation's on YouTube forever. And some of my people that were in my platoon are actually on that. Oh, it's more fun this way. Like I said, at least you'll have it when the calamity hits. You could always just roll back and, get everybody together and charge them some scraps for, hey, give me a pile of scraps. I'll let you watch this, this old movie of you getting put in the gas chamber. So, good times.
Oh no, it'll be great. He's gonna have what was it? Disney's Snow White, the 1937.
Oh, yeah, I like it. I like it. Like literally
I
that
hope.
old version.
I hope. Yeah, yeah.
You know what though? I mean, with everything going to new kind of videos and whatnot, like all live action, like them really pumping the money out of these names, I feel like we've also lost that. You know what I mean? Like we've lost the appreciation of people that had to draw it by hand back in the day. Not saying that the people that design those textures and stuff today are bad or anything; they're amazing. But like back in the day, that was like the technology, right? So once you lose
Yeah.
again, once you lose the ability to make CGI,
hmm
yeah, there you go. We've also lost the accessibility, right? Good call.
So, let me ask this question because I think, um, maybe sometimes people who are listening are like, hey, what kind of setting should I have for my campaign? Where would I want to be? How would I start? Um, and I think you and I we've had some chats about this, but uh, I think it's really up to whoever wants to play, right?
Yeah,
Now, I think some places are going to be harder than others. Uh, you know, being on the island of Manhattan after the calamity is going to be a really rough place because there isn't going to be food for 8 million people.
no, I mean, how long can it really last where they're at right now? Like, if you shut off the food supply to that island, how long does it take? I mean, to
Are
run
you
it.
are you calculating in cannibalism? I'm sorry. Sorry, that's a different character. Um, but so I think one of the things that we've discussed before is, you can start the adventure where you are, or start the adventure with Google Maps, just to give yourself an area so that you can look around and make the most of your own knowledge about the area, because you know where the Walmart is, uh, and that'll give you a nice setting. There may be differences between now and 2050, but um, I'm getting a little older, and let me tell you, some stuff changes and a lot of stuff stays the same. So I think you could have some you could have some really interesting uh, campaign settings. Maybe you want to be out in the wilderness, or maybe you want to be on an island nearby to a big city. Lots of different options.
Yeah, dude, that's you know, if I had a player group that was based out of the city, or I was just in my head urban, it would
Hmm.
all be about escaping. Like they would have to realize how um, how bad it's about to be,
Hmm.
and it would always be about it would be about the escape from the city, because boy, that would be dangerous. Not only that, again, the government said stay home, don't go anywhere. If you do, you get arrested. All right, we'll put you in jail because we're trying to get this thing fixed. There's something wrong, and it's safer for you to be at home. But your food is going to run out real fast. Bad things are going to happen even faster.
I mean, that is, unless you want to be the what is it, the Master Blaster? Uh, I'm having a moment here. Uh,
Master. Oh, are you talking about um,
Post-apocalyptic Australia. Mel Gibson.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, why is it so hard? Save us, Peter. No, Mad Max.
Mad Max. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're going to be like the guy at the top of the throne of terror,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
uh, maybe maybe the urban environment is the place for you. I think you're probably right. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. So I think I'm going to keep a theme here um, for these, because until I maybe see one that's a little bit overkill for those talent point costs. So some things, as you get up there, they get pretty powerful. I mean, um, adding a what possible 1d6 durability damage, that's a lot for zoom in a little further so you guys get the biggest view possible. All right, so I'm
size doesn't matter.
so yeah. So what I did while you were discussing the starting campaigns and whatnot, I threw in machine gun expert. Add 1 to the automatic rating of light, medium, or heavy machine gun, and add how about that? And add 1 advantage dice to attacks. All right, no periods. I don't like periods there. All right, so let's do this because it's a little faster. And I'll just change the numbers again. So we got 3, 2, 2, 3. All right, so that. Yeah, automatic rating is a big deal, right? So the more rounds that you could fire, the more targets you can hit with your shot. I mean, adding 3 to a light machine gun, which I think is a 4, means you could potentially sweep and shoot 7. You can select 7 targets when you roll your attack. So you just roll your attack once. Up to 7 targets have to make the defensive rolls, and that's how that works now, which is shaved off 95% of the time for automatic fire. So that is where that is. Missile launcher expert increased the target number for the reaction test by 2 for okay, so let's talk about characters with high evasion. Alright, we know who I'm talking about, don't we? Don't we, Drew? We know exactly who has some high evasion.
What?
Bruce?
You make the rules, I'll bend them.
Of course, so that was the goal, right?
Yeah.
So
That's what Bruce was for.
well, he had evasion of 8, right?
Yeah, going to 10.
Okay, going to 10. Fair enough. So, some things don't require evasion tests to dodge. For example, Bruce is going to run. He's running through, and there is a sticky trap on the ground caused by a sticky grenade. Because that's actually a thing, right? Not the sticky grenades that blow up, but the sticky grenade that causes you to run through goo and stop you.
Ooh.
So that isn't an evasion test. That's a reaction test to avoid it. So the goal of the Gun Master is to find other ways to challenge your characters, because a character is only as weak as his highest stat. Alright? An immobile Bruce does not have an evasion of 8 anymore because he can't move. Alright? So that's one concept thing, an idea, but the other one is of these blasts, right? And the concept of the blast is you're in it, all right. You're evading the blast. It's more about getting out of the way before the blast hits you, all right. So I've been playing around, with blast to make sure that it kind of fits right, using the current rules. Kind of walk through that real quick. I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to go look at blast rule real quick, just so we have everything. Right. Of course, blast is referenced because it's a bigger part of the game. So we're going to go all the way down to the blast attack. All right. So the blast radius is denoted by the X value next to the blast X range weapon special rule. Multiply X by 5 to determine the number of feet for the radius of the attack. All right. So those are in squares, right? Blast attack. Blast X. Attacker places the appropriate blast template. All right. So there's actually templates for this that you could lay down. You could just lay them over the thing. All right, lay them over the table, hold them over the table to see what covers. It's faster than counting out squares. You can still count out squares. The concept is relatively the same. The distance is relatively the same. It's always a good backup if you forget your template. All right, but counting squares could be time consuming. If the view of the target or center point is blocked by cover, then the attacker must choose a different square unless their weapon also has the indirect fire special rule. All right. Defender dives for cover after the location is chosen. This is when defenders may choose to dive for cover. You could always spend that craze point to dive for cover. All right. Remember, if you're already prone, you can't dive for cover. All right. Defenders choose a defense method. Each defender. Which reminds me, I wanted to do that. I always take notes when something pops in my head. And I think while I talk, so, all right, dive for cover. All right, so I wanted to look at my combat roll later, make sure that if that talent kind of fits, So my idea for combat roll is you can burn another craze point to roll. If you're already prone, you can make a 5-foot roll. So you could, if you're already prone, you could spend another craze point, but you're only moving 5 feet. So you did the dive for cover and a combat roll, which can get you 10 feet. So I'm going to look into that. I think that's how I want to do it, because if I just increased it to 15 feet, then I think it would be, it becomes really difficult, like managing that. I think as the Gun Master's trying to mow down guys. You want guys to jump and go prone. That's great. Then you throw grenades next round. Happy days. All right. Then they have to get up and jump out of that way, or try to get the grenade and throw it back. Good luck. Hope it goes well for you.
Yeah, but 15 feet also might make it such that you might be able to get out of the blast radius. So
Yeah, so
if you're near the edge, you want to be able to get out. But I mean, 15 feet is, I mean, 50 feet's a long way.
it is. It is. So a dive and a roll. The concept was that way you're burning 2 craze points to get out of a blast, which would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the idea of the Gunmaster, is to drain down your character's craze points to get them at a point where they might have one character that rolled really well and is up there, but the rest of them keeping them low. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because that plays on the same way a movie goes, right? I always tell people that. So a movie starts out with the hero being the best he possibly can be. I mean, you see him do things that are amazing, and then he goes back to his home or whatever. There's usually a pattern. Something bad happens after that, and then he has to go back to work. But as he's fighting the enemy, something happens and he gets bogged down, he gets tired, he gets whatever, and he has to withdraw, get that pep talk from that awesome motivational freaking leader guy, or his person, and then he goes, now he's better than before. He's got his craze points back, and he goes back and goes to fight the boss, all the way up to the boss where he's drained again, but it's that fight that is good. And some of the things I'm doing with bosses, by having them able to shove their hits on minions and elites that are adjacent to them, is going to really make those combats a little more dynamic and give the Gunmaster a little more tools to play with in his toolbox for not just one round that all the players shoot the boss and he dies.
That's true, because concentrated fire is
The Gip. I'm sorry, Peter. The Gipper speech. Okay.
the girl broke your heart. Now you're gonna do a bunch of push-ups and come back for more.
That's right. That's right.
You've been beat up, Adrian.
You have to.
Adrian.
Yeah, you have to play a montage song during this period, right? You have to have the montage. So
Eye of the Tiger.
yeah, definitely. At least Eye of the Tiger. So yeah, so that's so the attacker and defender make opposed rolls. The attacker makes their attack roll using attack's profile bonus. So that's using their attack bonus. That's different. That's some GunCraze miniature battle. Again, I haven't gotten back in here. We will back later on in the year when we get to this chapter. But each defender within the blast radius must make an opposed defense roll to avoid damage from the blast. Cover is determined from the square selected as the target of the blast. All right. So that's a straight up blast roll. Let's see here. Damage is dealt to the defender's torso and the 2 random locations rolled, which could be both the same location, maybe taking a massive torso hit, or heck, you could roll the 2 locations to be head and go torso head. That'd be horrible. Resolve damage effects, take any toughness test for damage, etc. All characters that attempted a defense roll to avoid the blast must be placed prone regardless of the outcome. Alright, characters who use their cover defense in this way do not need to be placed prone unless they suffered hit point damage from the attack. Alright, so take any toughness test. All characters that attempted a defense roll and failed, I guess regardless of the outcome, yeah. So even if you succeed or you got hit, you're going to be placed prone. You got knocked down, and that's where you are. All right, you're on the ground. So during, and BSP Actual knows this, during NBC training, nuclear, biological, chemical, during a nuclear attack, they tell you to lay down on the ground because blasts actually travel above the ground. They need air, that air cushion. So there's always a very tiny chance that a blast will go above you. All right. So I don't know if you were aware of that, Drew. This is something they teach us.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But you know what?
What's that?
I'm just gonna say it this way: if I'm in a nuclear blast, I'll be looking for that natural 20. I will. I'll be on the ground.
Yeah, that's basically how that'll work. Think of the movie
There
Chain
may-
Reaction with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman.
there may be a significant rare and a condition brown, but I just for fun though, I could try to get into that old refrigerator. I mean, it works.
Hey, it has to work because Indiana Jones did it and it worked, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Indy did
That's great. That's great. All right. Let's see where I'm at here. All right, go back to this. I think these are relatively close to being ready to moved over. Basically, what I'm going to do is that's where I go and put them down in the section where they belong, where all we see for support weapon talents at this point is Fear of God, Flamethrower Specialist, Grenade Launcher Specialist, Juggernaut, Missile Launcher Specialist, and Rolling Thunder. That's all we had in there before. Like I said, we're going from roughly 120 talents when we kind of started this to over 300 talents. It's going to be way above that. So very excited about that. I think these things, I think talents are really, like, other than skills, I think they really form your character, kind of their personality, how you're going to attack, what your goals, what your attack goals are. We've got about 4 minutes or so left in the stream. I did want to take a minute to talk about the concept of attack profiles. I am going to drum up some kind of a text. So it's nice to have players that have understood their, wrote out their attacks basically, so that they clearly know what they're going into when it's their turn. Because GunCraze is crunchy, all right, it has a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts. It's not unlearnable, but it is a benefit to everybody at the table if you kind of guess, hey, this is my attacks, and I'm building. You basically build your attacks, your possible attacks. So you could always have your basic attack, right? Oh, I'm going to hit him with a rifle. I get a +10. I'm ridiculously good. But you could also have your, hey, this is what I'm doing when I do an aim shot. I'm using all these talents. This is my role, and these are all my benefits. So you have it right there. You've thought about it. You've practiced it. And as a result of that, a gunmaster who goes to ask a player, because GunCraze, is it's an action-oriented game, and he's like, hold on, I need to think about what I'm going to do this round. That should be penalized by a gunmaster, because, like, wait, you're an action hero. We need to talk. And you would talk about before and between games, and hey, look, you could do this, you could do this. Let's write a couple attack profiles down so that you have a choice. Maybe not everyone, but some basic choices to do different things to impress, to take down the enemy. And you can build 10 of them, or whatever, to have them ready. Just like a spellcaster in another game has all his spells with all his meta magic feats. In GunCraze, you have so much variability by merging talents together to make like a truly kind of almost bizarre good talent, which is called a combination action, but an attack chain, if you will. So with that, yeah.
I like that idea. What do you think about the idea of some little cards or something? Something that you can have a PDF that's got a bunch of them on there, and you print them out, and you just give them a little name, and you've gone through your little calculations, and for you, this is what you do.
Yeah, and that really kind of works into. Let's see here. I'll. You head over to GunCraze.net, and this is, so we got about a minute or so left, but I'll just go over just a tiny bit. GunCraze Miniature Battles character card library, and you open up. Let's go to the heroes. All right, and you look at these cards, and find a good one here, like Juan Fuse, heavy pistol 2 attacks. This is an example, and this is actually called an attack profile in GunCraze Miniature Battles, which is made using the GunCraze rules.
Yeah.
Which means that that's what an attack profile should look like. That's a good example. All right, 2 heavy pistols, 2 attacks each. These are my bonuses. This is my damage. I get advantage 2. I need, I need both arms to do it, two-weapon fighting, and the pistol whip. This is my pistol whip. If I need it, I have it. I don't have to think, oh man, I need to use a pistol attack. What's my melee? You come up with it beforehand. And if you come up with one that's wild, you can pitch it to the gunmaster and be like, hey, there goes that sound of freedom again.
Yeah.
You can pitch it to your gunmaster, and he could be like, you know what, I approve of that, or that talent really doesn't fit because it's used with burst weaponry, and this attack isn't a burst attack. All right, so there's a lot of concepts in there where having your attack profiles written down, and I agree with you. That sheet of paper, almost that looks like I said, not like looks like this, but will have those kind of spaces. Hey, this is the title, because that's actually what I did when you had confronted me with that guy with power armor in the chapel right in front of the Reverend Father. I had that pre-written out.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah, I remember.
Maniacal laughter.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I used strength burst, and I basically DDT'd that guy. By the way, I mean in power armor, I was able to lift him and drop him on the ground, and then I was able to use my smash talent to do excess damage to him, because that's what smash is. It's all about doing extra damage to prone characters. But that being said, Drew, thank you so much for coming tonight. BSP Actual, thanks for the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and just run one final video before I shut down the stream. And that being said, everybody have a great night. And if you're catching us on YouTube, drop some comments in. Really appreciate it. And here we go.